We're going to start in Washington. That's where NBC's Blayne Alexander is joining us this afternoon. Blayne, with a good day to you. This march there is shaping up to be as big as last year's potentially. How do you see it? What are the numbers?
So, Alex, certainly nowhere near the crowd that we saw this time last year. But all along, organizers had only been expecting about a fraction of the 500,000 people that filled Washington last year. But if you look over here, you can tell this crowd still a very sizable crowd and very enthusiastic. Organizers were expecting anywhere between 5,000 and 6,000 people to turn out today. And just by eyeballing it, it certainly looks like they've met that mark, if not exceeded it by some. Now, I've been speaking with people out here all morning long. I spoke with some people who came here by bus, people who traveled from all over the country. I even talked to a group who came from as far away as Argentina. And interestingly, Alex, some of the people, a lot of the people who are out here this year were also here last year. They've kind of dubbed themselves Women's March veterans. But let's talk about the mood out here. We've seen a shift between the mood from last year and this year. As you'll remember, of course, last year's march was birthed essentially after the 2016 elections. So certainly President Trump was a focal point, kind of speaking out against him, against his policies. This year, we've kind of seen a shift. In fact, the march is officially called the Women's March on Washington, March on the Polls. So there's very much a strong focus on power to be in positions of power in politics. So we've seen a lot of people, a lot of signs kind of looking ahead to November, looking ahead to the midterms later this year. So they're not only talking about getting women in positions of power, but also, of course, getting women to go out and vote. So they're going to be wrapping up this program in the next 30-45 minutes or so. They'll march a mile away from the White House and take this message directly to President Trump's doorstep. Alex? All
right, Blayne Alexander there in D.C. for us. Thank you so much for that. Let's go to NBC's Mariana Atencio. She's at the march in Manhattan. So you heard Blayne talk about a few thousand people, certainly significantly less than the million last year, 1 year ago today, or rather 1 year ago tomorrow. That said, what's it look like in terms of numbers in New York City?
So, Alex, last year, 400,000 people here in New York City. This year, organizers say they were expecting 34,000 people. I want you to look at the crowd behind me. This goes all the way down to 6th Avenue. So many of these women that, like Washington, have come from other states, from all over the country, really, to be here. This crowd, Alex, getting ready to march any minute now. If you look over to my left over here, celebrities and organizers have been giving impassioned speeches for the last hour and a half. This crowd has been brought to tears many times by their words when talking about the Me Too movement and the reasons why they're here. I wanted to talk to especially some of the young girls here in the rally. You guys are out of high school, starting college. What brings you out here today?
Well, I've been inspired by the women that I've read in my textbooks for years that have fought for the right to vote and the reproductive rights. And I'm standing here today honoring the women who are victims of sexual assault and women who are just victims of unequal pay and immigrants in our country, and we need to stand up, and time is up.
You told me you did not march last year, but you chose to come here this year. Why?
Well, last year, sadly, I was at work and I would have loved to come, but I decided that there's no way that I'm missing standing with my brothers and sisters to stand up for a cause bigger than myself.
You are from Oregon, you told me. You're from Oregon over here. What brought you out here today?
I just wanted to prove to everybody that we came out of this last year stronger than ever.
So, Alex, the crowd here, especially the young crowd, as they say, excited to be here. And as we heard from Washington, a big push made by the organizers this year to get people registered. There are people being registered here in New York City, and to bring that power to the polls, especially during the midterm elections this year. Alex?
Okay, Mariana Atencio, thank you so much. They're from Midtown, or I guess we're out of Columbus Circle there in New York City. We appreciate that.